Hey everyone, it's Kenton Kivestu here from the RocketBlocks team, and in today's RocketBlocks mini lesson, we're going to be talking about a super popular behavioral interview question, which is tell me about a time you disagreed with a colleague. It's a very common question that comes up in all sorts of tech interviews, product management, product marketing, and consulting interviews as well. So let's talk about three key tips for handling this question if it comes up. And we're going to start with the most basic one. The first tip is no negativity. You will never win in interviews by taking a very negative tone. What I mean by this is painting your other colleagues, your former coworkers in a negative light. Like, hey, I was in a disagreement with them and they just didn't understand, or they didn't get it, or they weren't smart enough. That type of negativity just never plays well. There's a couple of reasons why. The first is that the interviewer might think like, hey, is this person just someone that thinks that everyone they work with is completely stupid or incompetent, something like that? And you definitely don't want them thinking that, because the immediate sort of next conclusion is, hey, are they going to think I'm an idiot or stupid when I'm their future coworker? So that's the first reason. The second reason is if they're not thinking that, they may think, why did this person work at a place where everyone that they were working with was so, incompetent? Why did this person tolerate working with people like that? If you think about that, it also doesn't reflect well back on yourself about why you stuck around in an environment like that. So that's the first thing. No negativity. Even if you had a disagreement, even if it wasn't necessarily like a painful or very heated disagreement, always be respectful of the colleagues and former coworkers that you're describing in these scenarios. Okay, second key tip is to get tactical. What do I mean by this? Well, a lot of times people answer this question and they're pretty hand wavy. They're a little hand wavy about what the disagreement was. And then even worse, they're hand wavy about the particular steps they took to resolve a disagreement. You don't want to get in that case. You want to have real details about how you went through solving this process. And there's a few key things that I think you always want to call out. The first is, how did you identify what the actual problem was? In many cases, disagreements with colleagues, the actual sort of disagreement or the stated reason up front may not be the true underlying cause. And a lot of time there's interesting dynamics about how you unearthed what the actual hesitation was or what the actual disagreement was about. So don't forget to sort of call that out if there was that element in the particular situation you're describing. Next thing is talk about the specific steps you took to address it. You don't need to go into every single detail. We don't need to know, exactly how the email was written or how the slide deck was built or the Excel model, etc. But you want to talk about the key steps that you follow to actually get to an agreement or a resolution with this particular disagreement. You also, third thing here is you want to talk about the hurdles that were encountered. Usually if it's a meaty disagreement, it wasn't just like there was one step to resolve it. You may have taken a step and then that made some progress, but then something else happened and that was a hurdle and a setback, and then you had to figure out a different way to overcome that type of details, and showing that resilience and how you worked through that is really important. So don't forget to include that. And then the fourth thing in the tactical steps that you want to cover is, what was the positive resolution of the agreement? And lastly, what was the impact that resolving that disagreement had? If you think about this question, there's sort of a hidden question behind it, which is that yes, like they want to hear about a disagreement you had and how you resolved it, but they also want to hear about a disagreement that was material enough that when you spent the time to actually resolve this disagreement, it had some important impact on the business you were working on or the product you were managing, the business unit, etc. That is really important. And so don't forget to highlight that at the end, because there is this element of, not only can you resolve a disagreement, but you are spending your time and investing your time in resolving the disagreements that really lead to breakthroughs for the company or the product itself. Okay, third tip is showcase your style. So as you are going through and you're sharing the tactical details of how you resolved any particular story or any particular disagreement, usually what's going to happen is you'll notice that you are showcasing a little bit of how you operate in these environments and how you do work through disagreements. So to give you an example, one sort of style is when there's a disagreement, some people resort to just pulling together all of the data. What do the numbers say? What does the market research say? What do the customer surveys say? What do the internal financials say? What do the projections say? And they use that wealth of data to really go to the other person that maybe the disagreement is with and say, like, look, here's the case. Here's why this mattered. Here's all the facts. Like, it's not just my personal opinion. This is just what the numbers say. And so by showcasing sort of this is how I think about the world, this is how I approach the problems, you're also showing the interviewer a little bit of not just tactically, what did you do in this particular agreement, but how do you approach these type of situations, and how will you be able to resolve future disagreements if you join his or her company as well. Now, there's a few other common sort of archetypes here. I won't cover all of them, but another one is like the storyteller. Some people are really good at, when there's a disagreement, finding how they can tell a story or a set of anecdotes that are going to help people on the other side of that disagreement really see their side, and see that sort of problem or disagreement point in a different light. And then the third archetype that I think comes up frequently is like what I'll call the rallier. This is the type of person that when they run into a disagreement, they work to find the other people in the organization that really agree with their perspective, and they rally those people together and help and sort of marshal those different resources and people to help make the case to the person that's on the other side of that argument, and use sort of the collective sort of force and intelligence and opinions of those other people to sort of bring their case to light. So I think showcasing that style and indicating how you'll operate in an organization is a really nice touch to bring through this question as well. Okay, to recap, tip number one, no negativity. You'll never win with negativity, so just avoid it. Paint your colleagues in a positive, respectful light, even if you had disagreements with them and even if they were heated. Second tip was get tactical. Remember to show the key steps that you took. It doesn't need to be every single detail, but you want someone to understand the mechanics of how you went about resolving a disagreement. And the third is showcase your style. This can really help put a bow on the whole thing and help interviewers understand not only here's how you resolved a particular disagreement in the past, but what's your style for doing it? How are you going to operate within an organization? Are you going to default to data? Are you going to rally people together? Are you an incredibly good storyteller that's going to be able to bring people along to their point of view in the future? Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you have interviews coming up, I highly recommend you check out RocketBlocks Interview Prep. We've got modules for consulting, product management, product marketing, strategy and biz ops, covering both the case interview portion as well as the behavioral interview portion. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet already, there is a big red button below. We're putting out a ton of great content on a weekly basis, so we'd love to see you again. Thanks, and have a great day.